Hey guys, so this video we're going to go over a new little widget that we made for kind of looking at all of our elements that should be ceiling should be ceiling hosted or ceiling mounted or put at the ceiling elevation. Checking those elements to see, hey, is this thing not on the current ceiling in that room? And doing a bunch of checks to make sure that that particular element is indeed supposed to be put to the ceiling and moving those elements automatically. So there's quite a bit of code here, so I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but basically what we're doing is we're looking right now for all diffusers and all lighting families, so all air terminals, all lighting families. And we find all of those elements that are currently visible in the current view. I made changes to be project wide, but for right now, kind of want to limit it to the scope while I was testing and to get some beta feedback before we kind of broaden this out. But it goes through, looks for all things like air terminals, finds every single instance of those air terminals in that particular view, and creates some links to those things, some references. And then what it does is we shoot an invisible ray straight up from the center point of that thing and also straight down. And then the first thing that ray hits, we get back what that element is. So if it goes up and it hits, say a ceiling diffuser is above the ceiling in the plenum, it'll go up and it'll hit it could hit anything above it that would not be a ceiling, and it would ignore that ray. And then anything that goes down, it would find a ceiling and it would say, okay, ceiling's at X elevation, and move that element down to that particular elevation. So we've noticed in past couple months, as we get ready to do as we do collision detection and coordination on projects, ceilings are constantly moving by architects, and it can be kind of a pain for us to move stuff around and keep that coordinated. So by having a button to automate that, it can really streamline that process. There is going to need to be a little bit of some testing to do with this, just to see what happens when a pop-up dialog pops up in Revit that says, hey, you're going to delete a piece of duct or whatever, because moving that element's going to break something. So it needs to be a little bit more error handling in here. But I had built this into Dynamo originally, and we have a script for this in Dynamo, but we just couldn't handle errors and error checking very well. So I kind of just made this into a string of code and a C# button. So let's check it out. So I've got a project here. This is actually the Raiders office building, and this is just a little slice. So in this 3D view, we can see here I've got a bunch of diffusers at the correct elevation. I've got some lights in the plenum, below the ceiling. Same with diffusers. I've got a couple here that are below, a couple that are way up high, almost into the next level. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this this tool from our engineering toolkit. And I have a admin RCP coordination is what this is called here. This button will change all lights and diffusers across the project. I have plans to add in tel data, security cameras, and anything else you guys can think of, like maybe exit signs that are ceiling mounted exit signs, things like that we can add into it. And so anyway, so we push that button. Takes a couple seconds, pretty quick, automatically moves all of those elements to the proper RCP elevation. So that's pretty slick, pretty sweet. In addition, what it also does is we have some other cases we have to ignore. So there's things that are air terminals in particular, such as sidewall diffusers, louvers, things of that nature. And we want to ignore those, right? We don't want those to actually move. So there's some code in there to actually ignore those types of elements. And as you can see, those didn't move. We're going to do the same thing for wall-mounted lights, sconces, things like that. So I need to add in some additional code to handle that side on the lighting side. But this is pretty good progress so far. Should be really useful for us. What I'll do is I'll have an admin overall button where they can click a button. It'll change all trades elements across the project. But I'm also going to break this command out into per trade. So as I start to make the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical toolbars and ITS toolbars, you'll each have a single version of this command that'll only change your elements in the active view, so you don't have to worry about potentially breaking other trades or other engineers' elements. So anyways, hopefully you see this is pretty cool, and looks like this will be something that'll be useful to you guys. This one's pretty much ready to go for admins at this point. I have a little bit more code to add in, but should be pretty buttoned up fairly soon. So all right, see ya.